He found it for a whim, unlocking a past he never knew. The bunker was a relic, smelling of ozone and forgotten circuitry. Its custodian was an old, gaunt archivist with eyes like milky quartz, who seemed to be a ghost himself. The archivist asked not for a fee, but for a question a piece of forgotten history. Liam whispered a simple query. What happened to the first generation of MindLink subjects? And for that desperate question, the trade was authorized. Back in his sterile government tissue apartment, Liam prepared his prize, the Chronos Link. A clunky, chromed leather helmet bristling with sensors, it was a prototype meant to download archival memories. Each one a compressed emotional masterpiece. He felt a strange, cold certainty as he fastened the main harness. A cascade of static snaps echoed, 1,000 dormant neural pathways coming to life. In perfect, terrifying synchronization, the helmet whirred. And then the past played. The memory was impossibly, achingly vivid. It was a life that felt like a half-remembered truth, flooding his soul with a tide of forgotten hope and crippling betrayal. Utterly lost in the download, Liam fell asleep in his chair, the memory loop weaving itself into his own subconscious. When Ji awoke, the link was silent. A cold, unsettling clarity filled the room. He passed the mirror where a framed, reflective photo of his face sat. He froze. A cold spike of wrongness shot through him. The reflection felt unfamiliar. He was certain his dominant hand always held the coffee mug, his scar running diagonally across his left brow. But now the scar was gone, and he was using his right hand a subtle, empty change. A creeping dread washed over him. He snatched his datapad, his fingers trembling. He searched for his old military service records. They didn't exist. With a shaking hand, he messaged his commanding officer, his heart hammering against his ribs. "Commander," he typed, "I can't access my deployment history." There was a long, confusing pause on the other end. "Deployment," his commander finally replied. "Liam, you're a civilian data analyst. You've never served." He powered down the datapad, the world tilting violently on its axis. His military career wasn't just gone from his life. It was gone from history. It was erased. His horrified eyes darted to the Chronos Link. A small central power indicator was a fraction dimmer than before. He realized with a surge of pure terror that the download hadn't stopped. The memory wasn't playback. It was an overwrite, playing at a frequency the real world couldn't perceive. Frantic, Liam dove into research, searching for the original architect, the long-deceased genius, Dr. Elias Thorne. He found whispers in the darknet of a 21st century mind scientist obsessed with a clean slate. Thorne believed a copied past, a perfected narrative, could replace a flawed reality. He found a decrypted government memo from 2041 reviewing the Chronos Link's only test phase. The analyst wrote of a hauntingly vivid experience, but he also noted that several test subjects left in a state of profound, inexplicable loss. They were grieving skills and accomplishments they could not name. The project was deemed too unstable and shut down. Liam finally understood. Each phase of the download targeted a life experience and surgically removed it from his personal history. The first phase took his military service. What would the second take? He tried to fight it. He ripped the headset off, but a ghostly narrative continued to play in his head. He swung a heavy boot at the console, but it passed straight through the projection like a hologram. The Chronos Link was no longer just a machine. It was a paradox. A virus of history. For a sleepless week, he watched the power indicator, a slow drain marking the systematic erasure of his life. Then, the ghostly narrative in his mind began to swell again. The second phase was beginning. He felt a wrenching, visceral grief for knowledge he couldn't place. He looked at a certification plaque on the wall for his master's degree. Blank aluminum. He was the only one who remembered. His entire world was unraveling. Fact by fact. Desperate, he returned to the bunker's location. In its place stood a newly built skyscraper, its foundations looking barely a month old. The archive had erased itself. He was chasing a ghost. He found the answer back in his apartment, inside a hidden compartment beneath the Link's charging pad. It was the private diary of Dr. Elias Thorne. The pages revealed a beautiful, horrifying madness. Thorne hadn't created a therapy tool. In his twisted mind, he had created a vessel. He believed the memories didn't erase the past. They consolidated it. They took a flawed, chaotic life and absorbed its most valuable experience. into the core memory bank of the Link. The final entry chilled Liam to the bone. My masterpiece is nearly complete, but it lacks a consciousness. It needs an anchor. The final phase will not overwrite. It will assimilate. The vessel will finally have its pilot. Liam stared at the Chronos Link. Its seamless chrome shell now looked like a predatory mask. He wasn't just losing his past. The final download was meant for him. With dawning horror, he noticed two newer-looking subtle data ports among the sensors. He stumbled closer, peering at the tiny script beneath the central memory well. The serial numbers matched his own deleted records. He was sitting in an empty shell, a tomb of his own making. The narrative in his head rose to a painful crescendo. The third phase. His entire childhood and knowledge of his parents vanished from his memory, from reality. Now, only the finale remained. The central power indicator began its final, inexorable drain. He couldn't destroy the machine. He had to break the pattern. Thorne was obsessed with consolidation. The answer had to be fragmentation. He scrambled through his old utility drawer and found it a small, cheap, analog voice recorder. It was a gift from his forgotten father, from a childhood that now only he remembered. He pressed record, then play. It played a choppy, fragmented recording of him struggling to sing a child's song. The recording was full of static and breaks. As the Link's power indicator reached its lowest point, ready to complete the download, Liam held the recorder to a sensor. The noisy, imperfect sound filled the apartment. It was a sour, ugly, beautifully human piece of digital garbage. The perfect, seamless flow of the Link faltered, screeching like a machine fed an unprocessable data type. The power indicator trembled. The two signals, one of history-stealing perfection, the other of flawed human-recorded noise, battled in the air. With a final, agonizing snap of static, the Chronos Link powered down. The indicator froze inches from its final zero. Liam had survived. The final download would never be completed, but his victory was hollow. The erasures were permanent. He was utterly alone, the sole warden of a silent link of stolen experiences. He walked to the helmet. He saw a single, faint vapor trail trace a clean path through the dust on its chrome shell. He had saved himself, but in doing so, he had damned them to an eternity of frozen, perfect memory. The story of Liam and the Chronos Link is a haunting warning about the price of perfection in memory, and the profound beauty found in our most fragmented, imperfect truths. If this tale struck a chord with you, please hit the LIKE button. Subscribe and ring the notification bell so you never miss a story from our collection. Now, we want to hear from you. What one imperfect memory would you never trade for a clean slate? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for listening. Be careful what histories you let into your mind. Some of them never leave. They just wait for their pilot. And for you, the transmission is about to begin.